Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today, zooming in on a really clear definition of narcissistic personality disorder, specifically as it relates to the covert narcissist. And this is under the definition of a Mr. James Masterson, one of the premier psychologists who had really looked at and delved into the narcissistic personality disorders. He has defined narcissist basically in some somewhat clinical ways, meaning, very, in very kind of clinical or medical terms. However, I want it to become very easy for you to understand, so you can really see, I guess, the origin of it and then how it's played out in your relationship, so you know how to better handle it. So the main description he gives of the narcissist as are grandiosity, extreme self-involvement, and a lack of interest in and empathy for others, in spite of the pursuit of others to obtain admiration and approval. And the patient manifests narcissist personality disorder seems to be endlessly motivated to seek perfection in all he or she does, to pursue wealth, power, and beauty, and to find others who will mirror and admire his or her grandiosity. And underneath this defensive facade is a feeling state of emptiness and rage with a predominance of intense envy. So it's a little bit of a clinical definition. However, I think what I want you to understand is that this desire is for others, for the narcissist to surround themselves with others who will mirror their superiority. So if you have found yourself in this relationship, in this cycle, where you were originally enticed or drawn in to a situation or a relationship where you were overly supportive, overly mirroring of the superiority of this individual, this could go to create this development in this enhancement in this basic proliferation of the narcissist personality. So you, unbeknownst to you, you thought in the name of love, in the name of caring, in the name of, encouragement and nurturing, created and developed a relationship with this person who you had in turn mirrored their superiority, their utmost beauty. What they're describing here is beauty, wealth, admiration. It could be of their talents. It could be of their looks. It could be of their musical talents. It could be of their intellectual talents. It could be of a whole myriad of qualities, and it's probably unique to you. But if you, as in a situation, as in a person, you became to be the support, the supply. We're going to get on common terms here. This is what the narcissist will derive from you. So, oftentimes, though, what Masterson is referring to here is that underneath all this person is feeling, they might not tell you, thank you so much for the encouragement, I feel really empty inside. The covert narcissist is not going to tell you that. They're not going to say, wow, you make me feel, so good. I've always kind of doubted myself and whether I could do this, or whether I was that talented, or whether I do deserve this position at work. They don't come out and communicate that to you. The closet narcissist, which Masterson describes, the covert narcissist, is someone who presents themselves as extremely timid, extremely shy, inhibited, and ineffective, only to reveal later in therapy that they have the most elaborate fantasies of a grandiose self. So even though they might come across as really kind of like falling apart at the seams, really, just dumb. I mean, it's almost like they present themselves as extremely ineffective and kind of bumbling and kind of not having their life together. That's really what Masterson is saying here is a facade, which is a true characteristic within the narcissist, is that it's an ingenuine presentation of a true person. So, our number one goal, I think, is in this channel here is to understand that we all have a true, authentic self. A true, authentic self which loves certain things, which has a passion for certain things, which unequivocally, without a doubt, loves certain things, admires certain things, feels captivated by certain things. So an authentic self, truly has a passion, a love, an admiration, a respect for certain things. And each of you have that within yourself. So you might love nature. You might love health. You might love wellness. You might have, a specific passion for children, or you might have a specific passion for art. These are your true interests, which no one has to tell you to fake. You don't have to fake that you love to hear the birds sing. You don't have to fake that you love the fall. You don't have to fake that you love warm weather. You love what you love. What Masterson is saying here is that the narcissist has a pathology, which means an illness, a deficit, a disorder of being able to relate to the world from that genuine standpoint. They feel very envious. They feel very empty inside. They feel more or less a void. So, and we'll go into other videos of the origin of this, how this is actually created in the person, in other videos. But for the topic of this session right here, we're looking at the fact that the narcissist creates a mask, a facade, an actual persona, a false just role in their life. So this is, created from within them, that they are pretending, that they are portending, that they're putting out there for other people to interact with. So like, I'm really kind of shy. I'm really kind of, not really intelligent. I'm really kind of not effective. I'm just kind of, in the rafters here. I'm like really not a mainline person. Like, I'm just kind of like on the sidelines. But meanwhile, within them, they have all these other ideas other than what they're sharing with you. So here it becomes this split. Here it becomes this division between the real self and what they're feeling within, and what they're actually calculating, and what they're actually doing, what they're actually feeling, and then the mask or the person that they are presenting to you. So especially in, romantic relationships, love relationships, marriage, spousal relationships, familial relationships, where we're having, they're having a large influence and impact on our life. What this means for us is that they are using then, according to those certain personas, it's a physical sort of role that they're giving us, underneath there's a whole other sort of calculating and controlling and manipulation going on, so that we will believe this false persona. We will get lured into this false persona. And so we will then act and take care of this false persona, while underneath there's all these other ideas calculating going on, which don't include us. And especially in the closet narcissist, is like a hidden, it's like a hidden identity that they have that we don't realize, but they go and retreat, and we end up exposing these when we realize that they have, manipulated us into believing that they are ineffective. So they've gotten us to either participate in all sorts of dependency behaviors, taking care of them, trying to do too much for them, make excuses for them, allow them to get out of certain responsibilities, where they put more burden onto others. There are other sort of control tactics, controlling our emotions, where they're so submissive, they're so shy, that they manipulate by deficit, by omission, by withholding, that they create this huge sort of deficit and lack of mirroring in another. So it's really, it's like an abuse by proxy. So it's just creating like a hole for others to fall into, and you don't realize that you're in the hole. You don't realize that you're in the deficit until, you know, you're in over your head, and you realize that you did not receive certain true representation, certain true communication, and that this person had a whole kind of shadow life. And that is the calculating that takes place within the mind of the covert narcissist. So in terms of how to confront this, we look at this in some other videos in terms of how to call that out and how to expose that in the covert narcissist. And, you know, very one is, you know, accountability. You have to be able to hold these people accountable. They have to be able to communicate, and you will find that they are very adept and able to communicate. Very, you know, surprising is the ability and, you know, talent that they have, that they had hidden and submerged from you. So accountability is going to be your best advocate and your best tool, which means getting them to elaborate on their stance on certain things, where they should be stepping up to the plate on certain things. You know, you have to take some responsibility here, accountability, responsibility. You're going to have to be the one. So it's almost like an ultimatum sort of correspondence and communication that needs to get out on the table. A coming to term, you know, a coming to term with actually terms. In other words, if we're, if you're going to be my spouse, then you actually need to represent, you know, your position in a relationship in these ways: A, B, C, D, and E. You know, you're going to need to be accountable. You're going to need to be responsible. You're going to need to communicate here, and you're going to need to be able to elaborate and explain yourself. Because if you can't explain yourself, then we don't know where you're coming from, and it's in essence that you're not bringing it. You're not involved in the relationship. You're not bringing your A game when we're bringing our A game to you. And so it's kind of exposing that deficit. And, you know, the covert narcissist will probably act hurt or inadequate because that is their facade. Yet you most likely have evidence to the contrary through their position at work, through their other relationships, through the money that they have saved. And you can then, you know, basically, you know, expose this with the covert so you get some accountability and responsibility so you don't become and stay further victimized. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussions, and support.